Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sin.
M15 PCA.
Native 454.
Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Welcome everyone to All About the Orville Comments. It's a show where we go through the comments of a review episode, and we just kind of answer and discuss what you guys are discussing in the comments. I'm your host, Crimson Sin.
M15 PCA.
Let's get to it. Episode 1 was kind of an odd episode, so we didn't get as many comments because it wasn't really that sci-fi element.
No.
But we did get a couple of comments, so we're going to combine episode 1, Geologia, and episode 2, Primal Urges, into one comment response video. So let's start with, again, I apologize for mispronouncing names. Everything's going to be up on screen, so you can see it, just in case I say things horribly wrong, because I normally do. But Davey K021, I think it's very obvious that the dark matter cartographer is a disguised Krill. Could be because people have pointed out the actress was the same actress that was in the episode when they went onto the ship, and was.
But she did look kind of similar, but I couldn't point my finger at it.
It's because it's the same lady. Yeah. She didn't show up in episode 2,
no,
so I'm wondering if that's going to be a continuing storyline or if that was just because she's worked on the show before. Let's get her out there. But it would be a cool idea.
But it gets funny because at the very end of the first episode, you see her with him at the bar. You know, oh, can I come up here? So she's trying to get
close to the captain,
but she can't stand him though. That's what makes it funny.
Alec Cap, not serious and certainly not funny. In fact, if this continues, I won't bother with it. Season 2, first episode was rubbish. I can see why a lot of people didn't like this first episode because we were expecting, okay, it's been a year, over a year. Let's get, and it was kind of like let's get reacquainted.
And it was a letdown. It should, like I said, it shouldn't have been the first episode.
But I know there's another comment later on saying if you would watch this seamlessly without a year and a half gap, it wouldn't be so.
That's
bad.
what I said too. But, like retrospect, 10 years from now, it won't be a problem. We're talking right now, though. It is.
Fractured Vision. Well, good for the Orville creatives for going with Geologia episode first. It's a shame so many are conditioned to expect this or that because the precedents that define the current state of what people should expect. It's a shame. In the golden age of television, there were so many rules as to acceptable content, yet they experimented with everything. No one was running around complaining because a show didn't do a certain this or that relative to other shows. They simply expressed it and processed it for what it was. Expectations didn't have the same stakes then. Fans today allow themselves to be boxed in. Something falls outside of line and it's wrong for that reason, and so they won't enjoy it as much because it didn't fit. Man, if life was nonstop things, you would are coming and they arrive exactly as expected, they'd be so flipping boring. Take it as it comes. Much more fun to live life that way. But that's like so when entertainment wasn't smug and audiences weren't tribal yet. People keep throwing this tribal thing out there. I don't subscribe to that. This is a TV show, not real life.
Yeah, I'm not to criticize.
Not to diminish your comment, because I do get what you're saying. Oh, they did subvert expectations, but I don't want the show to subvert expectations so much that everyone stops watching. I'm glad you stood up for being subversive, and then the show goes away.
But here's the thing, though. The thing is, I said if you're a dire Orville fan, it was fine. I'm talking about the new people
who heard about this show and they tuned in for the first time. You can't tell me that doing a traditional, more closed in, like saying, "Oh, boxed in," but you need to bring people in first.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, but I think this episode boxed themselves in. If you want to use that analogy the other way around.
Because all relationship.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, and people were saying, and the people come in and go, I thought this wasn't a comedy show. And they finally got over that, and they see this, and are like, well, where's the sci-fi? So it's like, it kind of defeated itself.
Well, there's a longer comment. I remember the avatar and the username. It's been over a year since we've talked to you guys in this way, but I do see some returning faces and voices. So these longer ones, I'll just take it a paragraph at a time, and then we'll discuss and then move on. Love this episode just because I finally got to see all our beloved characters for the first time in a year, which is good for returning fans. On the Mercer Kelly story, I was a little worried that the first scene that they were going to start shipping Mercer with the Law together. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I didn't think anything of it at first when he took the shuttle out and then went for a quote-unquote a drive When I saw that the shuttle was outside the window as the two were kissing, I double face palm crying, "Oh my God, what the F are you doing?" and started laughing my ass off. I couldn't help but imagine what it would be like on the Star Trek Next Generation if Riker was caught taking a shuttle to spy on Troy while she was seeing someone else. And then Mercer activates the cloaking device, and that's what I was going to be using the shuttle for. Why wouldn't you just have it cloaked in the first place?
That's what I said. I love how he does it afterwards. Like, she didn't see him. You know she saw you.
I love how Mercer's always straddling the line between a strong, respectable commanding officer and an unprofessional ass clown. Again, like, the comedy was through the roof in this episode.
Oh, my
goodness.
mean,
I think even on the thumbnail, I'll put comedy 9 out of 10, sci-fi 1 out of 10. But, yeah, I agree that it's fun to see everyone again. And, yeah, Mercer just, when it comes to his personal life, he's kind of a dummy.
What I would like to see, like it was in the second episode where they had a real kind of sci-fi element in it. This episode needed it. At least something. Something that was a side story that could have got... But there were so many relationships going on in this episode.
And I don't like the idea of Mercer and Alara being together. I just think he sees her in like a kid sister kind of way.
No, I think she might have feelings
for him.
Yeah.
I think she might. But I think Mercer, he respects her. He thinks that she has an amazing talent and she's great at her job, and he cares about her in that way, but I don't think there's anything romantic.
You remember, exactly. You remember in the first season, she goes to Laura. At first, I didn't know because you were so young and you're my security officer. Like, who's this person? Like, I know some things are really strong, but I didn't think you could handle the job, and you did excellent. You blew my expectations.
And I think that's what draws her to him. But to him, it's all professional, I think. Because the age gap there, I just think is a little weird. Kind of like that old... I just think he cares about her as his officer and as a friend.
Superior, as a captain.
Next paragraph. As for Malloy and Lamar, as usual, these two bring the bulk of the comedy in the show. Watching Malloy trying to get in good with the new cartographer had my skin crawling in the most hilarious way possible. How many of us can see ourselves in an unbearably absurd situation where we completely lose all senses dealing with someone we're attracted to and just don't know when to shut the hell up? As uncomfortable as it was to watch, it was realistic. It was so realistic it hurt. When we had that ridiculous looking jacket with 20 zippers, that thing had me thinking of Kingdom Hearts every time I saw it. Then, of course, the big payoff at the end. I was worried about how fast he was walking up there and that the crazy thing he was going to do if he messes it all up. But I honestly couldn't imagine him doing anything funnier than what actually happened.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I can't even remember the last time I laughed so hard. Yeah, that was the funniest part because he just did a lap.
He just walked right around her. I'm not going to talk to her at all.
Yeah, and all the zippers.
I don't think she didn't even recognize him at all.
I don't think she even picked her head up.
Yeah, that's what makes it funny.
And then the funny thing is, he didn't even stop to talk to him. He just kept walking. He went down the hall.
Oh, another funny part I thought in the episode too, when he was talking about, I go, I had a stalker and went into my house and everything, and we started dating. What? You dated your stalker? What's wrong with you?
She dumped him.
Wow.
How pathetic is that?
Yeah.
But, that was definitely, that duo, they're just so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Malloy and Lamar are so funny together. Because he's kind of like that cool guy, but he's kind of a doofus, and Malloy's completely a doofus all the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally you have like the straight guy and the funny guy. No, they're both the funny guy and it works. They're a good duo. They
have a good dynamic. I hope they continue doing with those two. That's really good.
Alara and Dan's date seemed to have potential at first, even if them getting together had a bit of a shaky start. He made good point about not judging a book by its cover. Then the poem happened, and God, that poem. Pro tip if any inspiring romances out there, never use the word penetrate in a love poem. Yeah, it was. He is very. Dan is like. He's going to just let it all out there, and it just makes things awkward as hell.
I don't know if that's his thing of his species, but there's no filter.
Yeah.
It seems with this guy. He just
because
says everything.
Even in the next episode, like when they're in the holodeck simulation, he's like trying to talk to those things. No, don't worry about those things.
Yeah, I'm Dan. He's not worry about
it. Would he have joined in? I'm pretty sure he would have. He's such a...
I think he just likes the attention because they're actually paying attention to him.
He continues on. Being a parent myself, I'm probably biased in saying that Claire and Isaac's story was my favorite part of the episode. Seeing how Marcus kept looking back at Isaac during the conversation with his mom made it pretty apparent that the reason for the change in his behavior is that he's looking for a father figure in his life. And I was surprised to see that the episode ended without really resolving the entire issue behind his bad behavior. Isaac managed to solve the immediate problem with simple investigating, but the real reason behind Marcus's negative attitude towards his mom definitely goes beyond hanging out with the wrong crowd. And I'm glad they left it open and a lasting problem that will take time to dig up and fully understand before they finally come to a solution. As a as any real parent will tell you, dealing with kids' problems takes a lot more than most sitcoms would have you to believe. And I think that's an interesting point because Dr. Finn had just had a child just all on her own. Like, she had her age and then she wanted to be a parent, but she didn't want to have a partner.
She thought she didn't need it, but then now maybe she's realizing, oh, now he's a teenager. Maybe she needs to have a male figure.
Being a single parent is tough. Super tough. And having young boys without that like the commenter Billy was saying, the father figure, it's something, even the greatest moms in the world still aren't dads.
And they go, look at it, and that's happening in their time when they have to no pay no bills. They don't have to do any of that, just work. And you work for free, and you don't have to worry about those things. And you're still having problems because it's human nature.
Because we're human beings.
Yeah.
And we still have it. It's very relatable. And like he was saying, that they didn't really resolve the core issue. When you have problems, there's solving the symptoms, and that's what they did.
Yeah,
here
I guarantee it's going to in any later episode. Yeah. I guarantee it's going to come up again.
And Isaac as a father, let's talk about Isaac as a father figure. He's super smart. He's incredibly honest, but there's no nuance. He's a good father in some ways, and he'd be a horrific father.
When I say a dad, no filter, Isaac has even less than that. There is no filter. He doesn't even know the concept of it.
Oh, you play reasonably well for a human being. Well, thank you. He's such a jerk. I love it. And you can talk crap back to him. You can't hurt his feelings because he doesn't have
No, there's no malice in it. It's just how he sees it.
Yeah, he's not trying to hurt your feelings. He's honestly, this is what from my assumption of all the available facts, this is what I'm going to say. And he finishes up. I was especially glad to see Bartis' family again. Eager to see what state their marriage is in. Haha, wait for the next episode. And damn, that kid shot up like a weed. After all the other relationship issues going on aboard the Orville, the big payoff of the episode was watching Boris piss off a cliff. Yeah, I know, right? And just as he was finally get to relieve himself, we all pent up in pressure after an entire year. We all felt too euphoric release of finally getting yet another new episode of the Orville after an entire year. It's kind of funny.
Great comment, by the way.
Yeah. Again, that's my favorite part of doing our Orville reviews are these comment reviews, because then people all the commenters out there bring so many different
perspectives, yeah.
And that's what sci-fi is all about. That's what I love about science fiction, because everyone can see something. We all saw the same episode, but we all got something a little different. Yeah,
exactly. When it comes to my favorite genes, it's my favorite above everything else.
Then we get see how that was like a long thought out comment. Then we get comments, Jimmy Dean, this sucked balls hard. Give an honest review. Well, I don't know if you're trying to say that we're not honest. I would like to say that is the pillar of our podcast is honesty.
I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. If I feel something's bad, I'm going to say it's bad.
And if I think something was cool, and if I like a certain character or a certain aspect, I'm going to be honest.
And if it's great, I'm going to say it's great.
It is true that I might forget something or overlook something.
But that's different.
But it wasn't on purpose to undershadow something. It was honestly I forgot. But we do give honest reviews. Yeah. I would like to think that people out there believe
and that. And another thing we like to do, as soon as the episode's done, we do our review. So that way it's fresh in our mind, so we're not, we don't lose little key details here and there.
Zenith Tress, again, I apologize, usernames, I'm horrible at them. Really enjoyed this episode, but I agree it was not well suited for a premiere. I did love the character interactions, but again, it's not the best way to start because new watchers don't know these characters, so they should have approached it differently. Excuse me. Now, sure, how they would have done it without a recap segment, but I have heard that this episode was a holdover from the first season. Either way, I'm just happy that the Orville's back. That might be true. But again, that would have been a weird last episode.
Yeah, that would have been bad too. I don't think that would have been much. I was about to say the same thing. And I thought, wasn't it supposed to be an episode with Patrick Stewart? When's that happening? We
have a commenter that brings that up, but I'm like, I thought that was the final episode that got pushed.
That was the rumor. I guess not.
Again, in this kind of episodic sci-fi stuff, you can kind of move around certain episodes.
Maybe that's what they did
But
here.
Certain episodes you can't. You couldn't have this episode before about a girl because the son wasn't born yet.
No, of course not.
So, but I think certain things can be moved around and shuffled a little bit. But hopefully they know what they're doing and it isn't jarring. Somehow it doesn't fit. But I'm pretty sure they'll do a good job of fitting it in. S.J. Pace, 1776. This episode will likely not be anyone's favorite. I think the words within context as contrast with typical episodes. If you watch all of season 1 and 2 at once, I think this episode would be seamless as is. But I like to understand people. But I like it, but understand what people who waited a year feeling underwhelmed. Yeah, it's just that whole year wait really hurt it.
Now, funny what you were saying, an interesting point. So that's the thing. So maybe that's the reason why they didn't make it the last episode for that very reason. But then it doesn't make it better making the first episode either. But
yeah, saving the worst part of like a meal for the eat it right away, so it's over with. They're saving for the end, so you can. It's like it's still bad.
Yeah, exactly. You're still getting it either way.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Right?
An hour later, you're getting it.
Yep.
Jonathan Earl. This is another person I recognize from previous Orville comment videos. This episode was sorry, a disappointment in my opinion. Yeah, I see a lot of people really dislike this episode, and I can't blame them. I really can't.
Yeah, because like you said, you're expecting one thing and another. Like that first commenter said, but that doesn't necessarily always mean a good thing either.
Yeah, it's different. Different doesn't equal good. Yeah, these two things can exist separately. You can be different and be good at the same time, and it can be separate.
Definitely.
I can't even say this name. It's up on screen. I apologize. Christijan Anche? Oh, geez, I ripped that up. I'm so sorry. It's more like a meetup after a long absence. You know, when you go on a trip and you've been gone for weeks and you come back and your friends pretend nothing important happened so you wouldn't feel left out to give you time to get back in sync. Well, that is Jaloja. Hi there. You've been absent. We haven't done much in that time. Feel free to relax with your buds. I hope the rest of the season gets more intense, though. That's a fair assessment.
That's fair. I kind of like it. That's a cute way of putting it. I'll give you that.
A very understandable way of putting it.
It is.
Mage Grey Wolf. I feel this episode should have been saved for February as a Valentine's Day episode. I would say it was pretty much middle of the road. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, 10 being the best. Definitely not an episode for someone just getting into the series. Anyone who's getting into it, I would recommend to go back and watching the first few episodes of the first season, at least before getting into the second. I would say that's good advice.
Yeah, but it's funny thing is, I don't think you could wait. The thing is, I don't think you could wait to Valentine's because the second episode, because you're already going to know what's going on with Boris, so it'd be kind of hard to.
It's just
this one has to be before that one, so maybe move both those episodes.
Yeah.
To Valentine's Day, maybe.
Have that 1 week and then another one the next. Yeah. Maybe. It all depends. What if something crazy happens with like a law or something?
Yeah, I know, but we're just now. We don't know that.
Yeah, we can only speculate that one. Again, another person I remember, Patrick Fluck, was in this episode cut from season 1. And he brings that up, and another person also brings up, I thought that was the episode with Picard, and then I'm like, well, yeah, then what the heck's that episode? I mean, a little clarification here, if it's been filmed and it's been sitting in the can over a year.
That's just weird. And then the thing is, he wasn't in there because I guarantee if he's in there in minor, he would have been all over the internet.
Yeah.
So.
Imagine if it was just like some like super minor background character for like half a second. That would be horrific. And
I'd be so mad. Especially someone of Patrick Stewart's stature. Come on, he's got to be on the show. He's got to be a major role, at least in the episode.
IDIC Girl. Hey guys, as an Orville fan, the entire time I had the hugest smile on my face. Love this episode and the Casablanca film song reference as time goes by. By the bartender is none other than Jason Alexander, George Costanza in space. Great review, keep it up. Well, thank you. We love the reviews. They're fun. And yeah, I remember you were telling me right after the episode because you said you kind of recognized his voice.
Yeah.
But they do such a good job with the makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, it's him.
The aliens on the ship, you cannot. They're above par. They're amazing.
They're full-blown movie quality.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's super cool. That you get these little... See, Seth MacFarlane has this ability to get these little mini cameos from, like, super famous people.
And Jay loves sci-fi, so he loves doing it. It's so funny because he even said on his Twitter afterwards, oh, yeah, I never felt so good wearing so much latex to do a role. It was amazing. He's so stupid.
So that's all the comments for the first episode.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of real discussion there. So we're going to jump into episode 2, Primal Urges, which has a lot of commentary here. I normally don't do this, but I separated the comments because we started to get I want to say like very not negative comments, but I don't like people fighting and name calling each other and stuff like that. But I also are very anti comment deleting unless it's really bad. So all the comments are there. You can check them out. But this is kind of like going to go through people who just said like, "Oh, this episode sucked." There's no conversation there.
You got to give us more than that.
Danv KO21. The first episode was great. This one stunk. And another comment on that one is, I like this one. To me, it shows a very accurate portrayal of porn addiction and how it can affect marriages and professional life, which I think is the main message of this episode. Which I think is a very strong message.
It was surprising, but it was
out of
good.
Nowhere.
Yeah, but it was good though.
And we got a couple more things like this episode was horrible, the worst episode in the whole series so far. No. It's so funny because I honestly still don't think there hasn't been an episode that was just horrific.
No.
There hasn't been an episode like that. Things like Cupid's Dagger are so just over, that episode so over the top. I think by default, it's my least favorite episode, but I wouldn't say it's. I don't like to use the word worst.
The thing is, for pure sci-fi, the worst one was the big city ship. The big
because
one.
it just didn't seem to deliver as much.
It didn't do it right the way I would have did it.
So the stars appear.
The stars appear.
I think that's what that one was called.
Yeah.
But this one's up on screen, and there's like a back and forth and everything, and it's just like and people are like, oh, it just sucked, not in a good way, and it's like this isn't Twitter. You can type as much as you want. And I want to hear your thoughts. I love it when there's disagreements.
The fact when he says "suck" in the beginning, is he trying to make another meaning there? Like a stupid, double entendre. Okay, whatever, guy.
Someone brought up a funny thing, like another thing they could do with would have been for Bortus. He's like, this episode was crap, but first episode was even worse. If the second episode was about Bortus being caught puffing a big blunt in the shuttle bay, then it could have been amusing. That'd have been funny. Instead of like having the porn addiction, he was like smoking weed. How funny would that have been?
Yeah, because when we first watching, like, what's he doing? Yeah. What's going on? Why is he lying to his mate?
The last thing I would have thought of would have been like, I'm like, what's he like? Is he just? First I thought, well, maybe he's doing something special or he's trying to like do a surprise. No, he's just having.
I would thought maybe he was doing like what Worf would do, like go for combat. I thought he was doing some like combat where it's going to be safeties off or something. No, it wasn't any of that.
Yeah, like it was something super violent.
Yeah.
But in the same thread here, we have Ham Salad 359. Excuse me. I'm not trying to convince someone to think different, but I think what people are missing here is the real life factor that the Orville brings. Stargate, what the hell am I talking about? Star Trek, The Next Generation was a good show, but most of the time the characters, with few exceptions, seem to be bland. People seem to be good with no vices. The only fun they had was a card game or a holodeck. Their response to certain events sounded a little scripted rather than the real gut response. A perfect example is when Bortus asked if there was an injection he could take to cure him of his mate. I think you had enough injections. That's something expected to hear from a pissed off woman. Yeah, I know. It was very, and the whole that whole scene, the counseling scene, it was uncomfortable for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable for the participants, let alone someone who's like listening in. It's just like, oh, I don't want to hear any of this.
Oh, I know.
He continues on for me, very few sci-fi shows do it right, giving you story, character, and action to agree that the action isn't what drives the appeal of the show. Firefly, Battlestar Galactica, the original series, Babylon 5, and now the Orville are shows that I can enjoy without having seen a battle or some type of combat to get the episode and really enjoy it. I agree with that. Here's the thing about Trek. When they say that the characters are a little bland, well, because we're supposed to have moved on as a race. Yeah. So we don't have those kind of super, like, and we're not like the humans didn't become like Vulcans or anything. No. But we're supposed to have got to that next level of society.
But the thing is also, you have to remember, there were episodes in Star Trek where they did show that. They showed that underneath that we're still human, and it did show some of our frailties and showed our problems that we'd have. So it wasn't necessarily all bland all the time.
Oh, let me back up. What did I get here? Again, another one. Jimmy Dean. This episode sucked balls, and then another one.
Oh, see, that's okay.
And then and this one brings up this one, and I totally disagree. Dip for Life 8472. This episode is classic jumping the shark. Interesting thing I've seen in the episode from the 1970s show inspired, and if everyone knows the thing about was it Happy Days?
Yeah.
When he jumped the shark.
Yeah, when Fonzie did.
See, I think you used it wrong here. Jumping the shark means you ran out of ideas.
Yeah.
The Orville isn't out of ideas.
No.
You may not have liked the context of the story and everything, but it's not jumping the shark. Jumping the shark is like in season 10, Bortus, I don't know, does something completely, wants to become human. And
but they explain why Boris is doing this too, though, in the episode.
So I understand what you're trying to say, but I totally disagree with the use of that term.
It's not like Star Trek. They jump the universe. Okay, yeah. Discovery jumped off.
They use the tricilial network to leap through the universe.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then we get comments like this, and I don't like anyone calling anybody racist or homophobic or anything like that. But Black Dog 333, oh dear, the continued erosion of the straight black male goes unabated. He's an alien. I know his actor's black, but he comes from a race of all males.
And males that can actually reproduce and have kids.
So he's not, there's no straight or gay black male or people on this planet. They're all one.
So you're looking at the actor, you're not looking at the character.
Yeah, I just think, and there was a comment there, it's up on screen, and they'd say saying straight by whom standards, because what they explored multiple times in the Orville is sometimes we can't apply human standards to an alien race. Even in this episode, with the Mocklin version of divorce is way off the table.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised no one's mentioned that part yet. That was just amazing. First of all, is this a holodeck? No, this is actually happening.
So there's certain things I think we can't really apply ethics and our morals to.
Yeah, it's a whole different culture, and then they're all males, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's unless you're trying to say, oh, they're trying to make a message beyond the show. I like to keep it within.
I don't think
within
so.
the show.
I think McFarlane's did a good job of not doing that.
Essentially, because he is without a doubt a full-blown liberal.
But again, the story comes first.
Yeah,
and that's what it always should be.
Donnet Gilchrist. Again, I apologize if I messed up your name. Call a spade a spade. Most people didn't like this episode or homophobic. Shrugs, plain and simple. See, I don't like that either.
No, that's the other extreme. I don't like that either.
You can dislike something for... I don't know you personally. I would like to say that every one of the commenters, we're a community of fans. But I'm not going to call anyone phobe this or ist this because I don't know you.
Yeah.
If you say you didn't like an episode, I'm going to take you at face value that you didn't like this episode.
Unless you give us a long diatribe of just really,
like you're really hammering them. Okay, it's a little racist. Nothing in the comments anyone said is anything about anyone being. I would label someone as homophobic. I don't like that kind of stuff.
No, that's wrong.
But that's the end of like the negative comments. So I'm going to get back to just good comments, or just I think are regular to good ones. I'm going to start with what I think is the best comment, which was the most favorited. And Marvel fan 616. First, I want to commend you for your courage and commend you for being honest. Because not many people can say something like this. He starts out at the beginning. As someone who struggles with porn addiction myself, hey, you know what?
Wow.
I'm glad you're willing to share. And you know what?
Exactly.
There's addictions and things like that. I'm glad this episode spoke to you. And I think it's very courageous to admit that to all of us. So thank you. Just for being able to do that.
Yeah, being honest.
Yeah, honesty. It's one of the greatest traits a human being can possibly have. But he continues on. It was so refreshing to see a show depicted like any other addiction, and not to belittle Bortus. The way Bortus described it, like to Isaac, was 100% accurate. Doesn't matter how loyal you are to your partner, friends, or families. No matter how, and why matter is feeding that need, that demand that to be heard, no matter what. How hard you tried to fight it, and when you feed that need, all you're left with is an empty shell to fill with only regret, embarrassment, and shame. You become so ashamed of yourself that you don't even want to speak or even seek for help because you're embarrassed to even admit it. It's a vicious cycle. Even worse is when you do feed that voice, it wants more until you need to be more intense with the last one. It's also great to see Claire, a doctor, say that porn addiction is a real addiction, like most psychiatrists committee in today won't even believe that it exists or even acknowledge it exists. After watching the episode season 1 about a girl, I knew the Orville was something special, and I'm glad I stayed with it. It's something that, in the way that Bortus explained it, and like you can see as he's like going through the motions, he's realizing I'm not any happier. So why the hell did I do it? But when that urge calls, you just act upon it, and you feel even worse than you did before you started.
The thing is, like I said, it was initially triggered because the fact that his mate wanted to make their kid a boy. And
he didn't feel like they fought strong enough.
But then after that, it became the addiction. It became more about the addiction.
And how I'm glad. Again, this is why we do these videos, because comments like this. This is a gold star comment. That's actually the most liked comment in the whole video. We move on. Rick Helly. It was an interesting difference that they failed to save all 75. In the next generation, they would have come up with something last minute to save them all. We're living in a different moment in 2019. This is another commenter, WH, in the same thread. This is probably one of the best examples of why Seth left the teleporter shouldn't be on the Orville. It forces the crew to solve situations the best as they could with repercussions. The Next Generation, or any Star Trek series, they would have used the teleporters to get the people out, deflating the seriousness or gravity of the situation. The planet was falling apart. They would have been, Captain,
there's radiation,
too much radiation, and then we can't get solid locks. They do that a lot. Yeah. But it is when you don't have a teleporter, there's a whole lot more problems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if there's something on the ship, you have to literally physically get it off the ship or bring it to the ship.
But it's so funny. Does he have a transporter? Because in the first
season, he has one in his drawer.
Yeah, he has one in his drawer. Does he have that?
Do you think he shipped that off to Orville, the headquarters of the Union and everything?
Maybe he did. I don't know.
But I do agree. Next Generation, they saved everyone. I think they might have done it away, but it was one of those things where. Yeah,
maybe. I think what would have happened, maybe the Prime Minister, or maybe one other person would die. It would have been something.
A big chunk of people died. Almost half of them did, and that's their whole race. There is no more after this race. So, Trova says, what's it like to watch a show that actually has characters with flaws? Hey, it's great. It makes for great storytelling. There's nothing interesting about perfection. No. Nothing.
But the thing is, I did lose a little bit of respect for Boris. A little bit. I have to be honest about that.
Because it is impossible not to make the parallels between Worf and Bortus.
Yeah.
I love the hell out of Worf. He's such a, that moral standard. And it almost to be like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, why are you doing that?
And then there are times when even Worf even betrayed it, like when he slept the Esri, because he missed Jadzia. So there were times, but
again,
but nothing to this extent, no.
But it goes to the real.
Yeah.
They have real emotions and real feelings, and he has real resentment for what happened with his son, who was originally his daughter. So, you know what? But hey, and it showed that it didn't get insta-fixed.
No.
He's like, he even admitted those feelings are still there, but I still want my family. So you have to fight for your family.
Well, seeing what happened, losing when he saw the apprenticeship and then they had to separate and they were going to see each other again, like, oh, look, I don't...
What really mattered in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably had petty quarrels too, but what mattered truly in the end, that our child and our family and the love I have for you.
Yep.
That is more than any of the other stuff.
What a great message.
It's so good. It's, having a family is a good thing. Xantor Antrax, I think I remember this name too. The only question we must ask here is, who is the poor one who must clean the holodeck? No joke aside, it was a real good question. Make me think he was an intense way with all the stuff it needs.
No, Crimson actually thought that, but we weren't going to bring it up because that was not.
Not just like bodily fluids. I'm assuming the computer has a way to disintegrate all that stuff and sanitize the room. Hope it's not some guy with a bucket and
it falls down like that makes a sound. Oh no, that's bad.
I'm sure the computer can zap it or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's gross.
The next person coming into the hot deck, oh, what's that?
They slip it in. Oh God, no. This is a funny one. Vlad the Drak II. I remember this name too. When the B plot becomes an A plot. See, in a normal show, the rescuing the people would have been the main plot, and the relationship thing would be the side plot. And this one, it was swapped.
Do you think maybe McFarlane did that because he realized he had to have more sci-fi in this episode? I think so.
Yeah, well, it brings
you had to.
It was cool. Yeah. And this is another one where I didn't lump this in with negative reviews. It's just an odd one. I think it's an odd observation. But Presumptuous Pseudium? Again, I apologize. I gotta be honest. I've watched a good 7+ reviews of this episode and a ton of threads on Reddit. And I've come to the conclusion that a large majority of people who didn't like this episode are American. Not that this video and most of the commenters... And they didn't like it simply because it made them uncomfortable, which should be a good thing. TV should make you uncomfortable. As Seth trends to do a lot with his shows, they tend to go and get the same reaction. It was a good episode. Did things more starkly and more in your face than Next Generation ever will have. But since the show showed some alien guy on guy action more than people would have liked, and not in the overtly comedic tone, and the character dealing with a serious problem that affects a lot more than people than we tend to admit, it put people off. I hate to say it, but America's still a nation of hypocritical prudes, not far flung from the first Puritan settlers. I did find it a little unsettling, yes, but I can see and appreciate what they did without resorting to the worst episode ever in order to cover up any prejudices. We must actually have no issue with the holosuite bits not being not bits, but being not American. I didn't get offended in the slightest a hint of that sort of thing. So yeah, I think a lot of people dislike this episode. Do some self-reflecting. I don't know about that. I wouldn't say, because America...
But for me, I can only speak for myself. Personally, I don't really care. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Homosexuality, I don't care.
I was more hurt for his partner.
Yes.
Not because oh, gay guys, close my eyes. I don't care about that.
When Kleinen walked in on him,
I felt bad for Kleinen because it broke my heart that he was doing this to his partner and
then what made it so bad is they were going to couples therapy and he was excited about doing it. And it's
when Kleiner's like, we'll make this list of the fun things we like to do together. And Border's like, yeah, we'll do that over dinner. Instead of going to dinner, you went and did the freaking porno thing again. Yep. See, that's what hurt me the most.
Not about that. I don't care about it. And then when about Americans, well, you can't say that.
I'm pretty sure if you took, let's say, 500 people from San Francisco and 500 people from, Kansas, yeah, they're going to have varying different opinions. So it's hard to say to brush that paintbrush over all of America. I don't know about that. No. Everything else you said, I can kind of see, but to say, this is an American problem, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
And there's some responses there.
Well, I gotta tell you, there's other parts of the world that'd be a real problem. Let's just put it that way. I'll just leave it at that.
Flaming Melon TV. What a fun name. Good. His show needs to be talked about more. Yeah, I think more sci-fi people need to get into the Orville. I feel kind of bad that if I got someone to watch the Orville and their first 2 episodes were these 2 first
I would
episodes.
actually say the commenters said I'd show them the first season. You
gotta watch some of the first season first, then these episodes.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it every week. Every time it comes on, we'll do it. And if there's big news outside of the episode, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, if it's big enough, we'll do it.
KJH. The visual effects were incredible. The red glow of the star reflecting off the ship blows away just about everything we've seen in Trek. They made sure you noticed it with the nice long exposure, unlike STD, where you have 2 to 3 seconds max and still can barely see the ship. The Mocklins by the lake in the simulator was too funny. All the aliens had brought something great to the show, which is cool. Again, I love the special effects. The Orville going by the dying star, and that should be a live wallpaper on my computer. It's such a beautiful shot.
I even like the scene where it shows the ship and just the sun in the background. Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Or like you can see when the Orville's like orbiting, and you see the planet being eaten away. It's so cool.
And then even the scene when you see Boris and Isaac walking onto the planet,
and they look
the
up,
background. Boris had to look up like, man, that's amazing. You have to look at it.
A whole planet is dying. Billions of lives are at stake, but this is a beautiful thing, and its destructiveness, it just looks so good.
And also, at the same time, you got to realize those other planets that had life on them, how many people died?
Animal life, plant life, sentient life.
Yep.
Who knows? And then, like you said, all the aliens bring something cool. Every alien species they have shown has either brought, comedy, or they brought in, deep issues, like with Bortus, and then even with Yampit in the first season. Even though he was a comedy character, he did bring a little bit
I want to see more Yampit. He needs to talk.
We physically saw him, but he didn't do anything.
He's got to come on. I want to see some more Yampit.
Power OFK. Right after watching this episode, I was thinking to myself, I can't believe they actually tackled this issue. Bravo, Seth MacFarlane, bravo. And I have to say, it's a very conservative message.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of things you should do the things that feel good. Who cares what everything is?
Especially in Hollywood.
Yeah, do what makes you feel good. Who cares about family? But this one's there's an importance of family. And I'm glad that it's a good message.
Oh, excellent.
Because I guarantee you, a lot of people do have varying degrees of this addiction problem. Yeah. It could be addiction to pornography. It could be addiction to a substance. It could be addiction to even people that are addicted to like adrenaline, gambling. Yeah. That risk of buying more scratchers or going to the casino. It could be applied to anything, and how it could destroy a marriage. It can ruin a family. And I like to think that their son was kind of lost in this. Parents are fighting, and it's just,
the son was just like an afterthought in this whole thing.
Yeah, which is sad. It should be about your child.
But no, it's interesting though when you think about it. Doesn't it seem like sci-fi lends itself to more story than SJW leftist stuff? It just does.
Oh, because it's all surface level over there.
Yeah,
and it's all about faux outrage instead of dealing with the problem that's actual real problem with a lot of people.
That's true.
Fractured Vision. This episode was amazing, even better than the last one. Again, I like both episodes. I do agree that it was better than the first episode because it felt more concise. We had A and B instead of A, B, C, D, and F.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of relationships. There was just 2.
Again, just light on sci-fi.
Yeah,
but great, good interactions with another showcase Bortus episode where we've seen a lot of good of Bortus, and this is the first time I've actually seen man, this is.
But funny of the other showcase episode, the thing we never seen anything bad like this yet.
Again, S.J. Pace, 1776. The change I would have made in the time allotment between the 2 storylines. Personally, I think showing the opening Bortus simulation was enough, and then show him go back, then talk. To the engineer that gave him the virus, then reveal when they go into fix it, it's his paradise simulation. By cutting down, we could have given more weight to the planet and the people dying and show Bortus redeeming himself, possibly shielding people from radiation. This would have made Captain Mercer's speech at the end feel more even. As is, Bortus took a big hit and Ed and Kelly permitted too much. You know what? That wouldn't be a bad change. Maybe on the way back to the ship, he had to cover people up because he was absorbing the radiation, and it could have gave him more good guy. I know it's good guy points, but he would have shifted him more too.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the first part is coming. I think they want to show how depraved it was.
Yeah.
You can't just do a little bit. It had to be a little more than just.
He wasn't going there for sex. He was going there for deeper, there was a deeper issue here, and it showed, I guess, the way you described him, he has a porn addiction, but it showed you how addictions just get worse.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I delved into depravity and then I'm fine now. No, you just keep sinking and sinking. You keep swimming.
Like, remember the point after the doctor, you got bored of it.
Yeah.
He wanted something
he
more.
even said, you know what? I need something real freaky deaky. And that's when he went to, like, multiple partners mode. But I do agree that it would have been cool to see a little more of the sci-fi element. But
that I agree with it, but you couldn't cut on the boards. You had to show how far the guy.
And I guess McFarlane made the decision to make it more of a Boris.
Yeah, because if you didn't do that, then you're kind of almost hiding it the way he was hiding it in a weird kind of way. You have to be honest about it. You have to show it.
Slicer Neons really was creeped by the simulation. Bortus being so straight man made it hard to sympathize. Guess they wanted to contrast it with all the weird. Episode 1 could have been renamed Relationships Are Hard and Crazy. Yeah, I know, right? And when you say Bortus is a straight man, they mean he's like professional. And he's there to do his job. But he was even lacking on his job and as a partner and as a
exactly. And the thing
officer.
is, another thing I want to say too, and I don't know if this is the case with McFarlane, because I think he's been doing really awesome with the show overall. But do you think the reason why they made it Boris because they can make it all males and not make it females? I wonder about that. I don't know if it would have been another crew member that had that problem.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but
because you can have a lot of shirtless men.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
Yeah, it just makes things a whole lot easier. But I mean, it went pretty far. Like that guy's on somebody's pants. Like, whoa, here we go.
Yeah. And then the touching all over from Isaac, and Isaac just has to look like I don't know.
It's funny how Isaac didn't respond.
No,
he just kind of looked around like, okay, this is the thing.
That freaking him. No, don't touch me there. Get off me. Jeez.
Robin McDonald. I think three of us watching thought it was the worst episode of the series. This was the first episode for one of us, and clearly he didn't get why we liked the show. You were more entertaining and positive than the show. I agree with your points. It made me not like Bortus, and while I will likely recover, I probably won't forget, as I thought Mercer would have accepted his resignation. Lastly, while it would have been even darker, I don't believe Bortus is so high-minded that he resented Clyden for the sex change. He knew this, and he was so intellectual. He would have had compassion on Clyden. Bortus is the most uptight character on the show. Rather, I would have believed Bortus was not attracted to Clyden anymore after learning he was a woman. Bortus would resent he was told before they were married, and what does it say about him that he didn't notice or ignore Clyden was clearly more feminine? And that's the thing, too, because we didn't know why he was doing this. Again, the easy answer is he didn't find him attractive anymore. Yeah. I'm like, maybe because he wants something hot, he wants something different. He's not sharing his sexual fantasies.
But see, I don't think he cares the woman because he didn't even care if his son was a woman. But I think he forgave that.
But he's saying that, I think that would have been a better storyline. Because I married you because I thought you were a male, not a female.
But I think he didn't want to kind of muddle the message or make it look like, Boris has a point. No, they wanted to make it. But he was in the wrong here.
But like you say in the comment that Bortus is very uptight, even though he said, I accept this is our son, and he said that, I'm like, it's cool, we're moving on, we have a bunch of episodes, but Bortus has a hard time expressing himself, and he let these feelings that he had poison his heart, poison his soul, to the point to where he was willing to destroy his marriage.
He almost destroyed the ship, too.
Yeah, and destroy the ship, not on purpose, but he almost didn't care if they destroyed his family because he let that hatred and that... Instead of talking about it.
But the thing is, but that's the reason why Boris had to be the only one of Isaac that could handle the radiation to go down to the planet, because if he didn't and he asked for his radiation, Mercer would have to accept it. Yeah. That's why they did that, because what good thing did he do to save his job, basically?
Cartoon Fan 959. This was season 1 leftover. Notices Kelly's hair and the shuttle don't have the blue stripes. I don't notice little details like that.
But some people do. The people like the technical and they like the uniforms and stuff.
There's so many things where you guys in the comments section will pick out stuff like, man, how the hell did you see that? But maybe some of the stuff is a little bit different. We could tell that's a season 1 thing. Maybe this was a season 1 leftover.
I'm sure, but
I would like to have an official statement saying, by the way, guys, season 2, episodes 1 and 2 were actually supposed to be in season 1, and something official.
It makes sense because it was such a long layoff since they put it in this part of the series, because the Battle Girl was like the 3rd episode. So you're talking a year plus of him doing this.
Radio Bikini. Border should have been disciplined, and maybe Ed can create an AI lover to get over his ex. Yeah, he should be like, maybe I should try this thing out. But I think, Border should...
I think he should have been demoted. That was my feeling.
But I guess he said...
And then after a while, he gets his second in command back. Third in command, I mean.
Yeah, like maybe he has to do some time down in engineering and stuff like that and not be on the
that would have been interesting. That's what I said, too. That would have been cool.
Yeah, but again, maybe that's something that we can just imagine happen between the episodes,
Oh,
like, we could just, make it in our minds. But it'd been nice to actually have that in the show, so that there was consequences.
Yeah, he's wearing even the red uniform.
Yeah, yes, I changed uniforms because he has to go because he got demoted, but not kicked off the ship. It's funny, since the Orville, the ship itself is such a low-ranking vessel, there's like really no lower...
Yeah, it's a mid-class. That's what they said in the vessel.
See, but it's not like how the Enterprise
It's not one of their
capital ships.
Capital Star Destroyers. But they all look the same, it's just bigger.
Zenith Terrace, Teresa or Terrace. Again, I'm so sorry about the names, but it's up on screen. I'm loving the Orville. As awkward as it was to have an episode about Bortus' sexual fantasies, shudders, having characters and relations being organically complicated is refreshing. Way to add drama to the show that doesn't feel shoehorned or contrived. I enjoyed seeing the lingering consequences from season 1, and I do hope that Bortus and Clyden can save their marriage. As for the holodeck porn thing, I would consider it cheating, as Bortus has lied to and is avoiding Clyden because of his resentment. If Bortus was simply watching porn, I would think otherwise, but it would appear as though he was actually engaging in sexual activities with holograms. For Clyden's reactions and other things in this episode, I would see that the Mocklins are monohumilius. Again, I'm hard on words. It's up there on the screen. I also like how we see more of the culture's clash between humans and Mocklins. The B plot or main plot was beautiful and tragic. The visuals are stunning, and you got the actual sense of tension and tragedy from the whole thing. I loved how as soon as Ed found out there was people on the planet, they jump into action to save them. No debates on the Prime Directive stuff, and seeing that people who had to stay behind and the minister saying goodbye to her husband, and it was tear-jerking. I'm loving that the show actually invokes emotion. As a nitpick, I agree that Bortus should have been more severely punished, and I can understand why people wouldn't like this episode. Anywho, you guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. Well,
thank you.
We love doing it. It's so much fun. And, people who are joining us for the first time.
I think homogenous.
Yeah, Yeah, there you go. He knows about...
I don't want to wait till you were done. So.
Homogenous. Oh, it's funny. Once you said it, now I can see it. Yeah. But for those who are coming to a first comments video... We do these because back when we would watch Next Generation, we would do this.
Yeah.
I remember, when I would go to school, I'd have these kinds of conversations.
But they didn't have the internet back then. We could do this stuff and make a podcast.
So this is like me doing what I always would do.
Oh, yeah.
I love talking about
normal.
stuff.
Oh, yeah. We just when we go to the grocery store. We do it all the time.
Or right after we're done watching a movie, we have concepts and ideas, and it's cool to bounce them off other people. I do agree that I hope they do save their marriage. Because I like that. I'm going to call me old-fashioned. They have a child. Try to keep the family together. Try to overcome your problems.
How's Clyde going to do? Because on his planet, you killed him when you get divorced. How's that going to work on his planet?
Would that be an attempted divorce?
Yeah, I know, right? We tried, but we couldn't because I can't kill him.
Here's the funny thing. So it's law. I want a divorce. I get to kill you. Are you not allowed to defend yourself? You have to let it happen?
I don't know.
So I was like, I divorce you.
Yeah, what if you kill the other person? Like, well, I divorced you first, I guess.
You have to prove that the other person's dead. And I agree. I would consider it cheating because it's a little more intense than someone looking at like a dirty magazine or something.
Yeah, they're all levels of wrong, but this is just like a whole new level of wrong.
And that planet blowing up, beautiful and tragic. I think that's the two best ways to describe that scene. Anthony Stang, I thought the reason they didn't put makeup on the people that they saved was to more humanize them, and that makes it more true because if they would have looked very different than humans, we would have been we make a more connection to something.
But the thing is, that's true. But this is the third planet now where we've had that. It's like
I remember like the one we talked about earlier about the Should the Stars Appear. They pretty much were just humans.
Yeah, they had kind of the trill thoughts, but
yeah, they were pretty much just human. And then that other planet
Majority Rule they were too.
Yeah, they were straight up.
But I love that episode.
That's such a good episode. Goodness. And there's a funny one. Harrison Smith. Hey, what happened to the reviewing your comments videos? It's happening now, baby.
We want to wait till the day before.
Yeah, so we can get as many comments as possible. Yeah, we're going to keep doing them. So that's for you. It's happening right now.
Yep.
Leslie Mingo. The second season of The Orville is intense. Love it. Bortus and his partner look so uncomfortable in the marriage canceling scene. It is uncomfortable because then you have to admit you have a problem and something that's supposed to be personal between two people is now involving other people.
Yeah, and it makes it even worse. You have to explain what marriage counseling is. No, it's not combat. You're not going to go fight each other.
Yeah, especially to a culture that they don't have anything like that. It's oh, things are going sour, you kill the other person. That's just how that works. Kevin Jones, LOL. The thing with Bortus and his porn addiction reminded me of Barclay and his holodeck session, only to the next level. Yeah, that's how you.
That's what I said. This ain't your Barclay Star Trek, okay?
Plus, I love those give us a deeper look into Bortus and Kaida's relationship issues. Another thing I appreciate is how they didn't save all 75 people, but only 30, which is sad and felt more realistic. Yeah. Like other people alluded to, people hated this whole like storyline, but it goes to show you that Bortus is he's human, but he's a sentient thing that has wants and desires and resentments, and he has hatred and he has love. He has a real character.
You know what's funny? Now thinking about that, I would be kind of like saying, "Hey, if we're the third left behind, give us poison or something," because I don't know if I want to die in the heat of fire like that. That's kind of brutal, right? I mean,
it's one of those things. It's but what do you do?
Yeah, and if I was a guy, I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to let no kid die. The kid goes before me, you know. I'm not going to do that.
I'm sure there was more adults than kids. All the little kids, and then everyone else can do the draw. But unless you want to say, it's 100% random, so it's completely fair to everybody.
Yeah, I know, but
I know. But again, personally,
that's my human, thing, and they're not human. So again,
Nicholas Benninger. I hope I'm saying that right. Apparently, no connection was made to why Bortus was lying about what he was doing. He explained it twice over during the marriage counseling and when talking on the shuttle. If no connection was made, how can commentary be made about Bortus's character? I thought we touched on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did. If I didn't, we did. Certainly, we did during this conversation.
Yeah.
But or if you're commenting on another person's comment, but if it's towards us, if it did slip my mind, I apologize. But I do. Yeah, it's because. It wasn't about sex. It wasn't about feeling good or passion.
I think we did talk about it.
I thought we did. But if we didn't, we're doing it again. And we did it plenty of times during this whole conversation. But it was about kind of like getting back at Clyden a little bit. In a weird kind of like revenge way. Like, oh, what you did to our daughter made me not care about you so much.
So I don't care about this relationship.
I don't care about anything.
Marriage,
But you have to love your kids. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Cartoon Fan 959. The next two episodes sound very promising. 1. Home. Ed, Gordon, and Allura visit Alura's home planet, Xylan?
No, Celea.
Xelea, there you go. Nothing left on Earth except fishes. Ed finds himself behind enemy lines. He crashes and lands on a mysterious planet. Kelly questions why Gordon wants to take the command test. So there you go. I love the command test. Yeah. But that's cool. Those two episodes sound very sci-fi.
It's got to be the one that Diana Troy took.
Yeah,
you got to let someone to die, like Geordie LaForge. And
then he's like, well, you have to go. Well, that's like,
yeah, you have to. It's your job. You got to save these lives.
I love. Again, not to be. Let's talk about old episodes of Next Generation. But I love the fact that she passed the test, but she goes, I'm not going to want to do it.
No.
And he's like, why not? Because even though it was a simulation, looking at Geordie, ordering him to his death, I don't want that on me. I'm not prepared for it.
No.
Even though it's like, but Riker knew that he had to put her in the toughest spot that a captain, someone in command would actually do.
Yeah, you have to send someone to their death.
I hope something like that happens here too. And maybe he gets Gordon gets a little more I don't know, learns a little maturity or something. Maybe he made him grow a little bit because he's such a goofball. But those two episodes sound way more sci-fi. So I'm hoping there'll be a lot of cool comments with those two episodes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Vlad Dracul II. Do 100% straight women get uneasy when two girls kiss in a show? Why can't guys be uneasy when two men go past PG rating in a show? Apparently you can't be happy for a couple without watching them do it. I say just be happy you found someone that can make you happy, and don't be mad when someone isn't masturbating to the same thing as you. And this goes back to the whole like people calling each other homophobe or getting really like, oh, there's just two gay guys and all that. They're partners. As long as they're happy and they're consenting adults.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares?
I don't care.
Again, consenting adults, you can do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yep.
Slithering peanut. But weed is harmless, right? Here's the thing. This wasn't about marijuana. Here's the thing. If you're an adult, do what you want. If it's legal in your state or your country or whatever, that's your business. It's not right for me.
No.
I don't like it. I'll never do it. But if that's your choice to do it. But like people said, oh, no one's ever robbed a liquor store because they were on weed. And they also didn't fill out a job application either. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we won't get more than
you
that.
can just do it again. But there's a lot of things like being a drunk. That's not illegal. But you can do it if you want. I don't do it, but you can do it.
Another thing, too, about now you mentioned that, there's a lot of points in Orville where they do drink, though.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
They have a bar. But that's the last comment there. we made this video like really late at night. So if there's comments afterwards and you missed the thing, we apologize. Especially there's been a couple of times where there's a really, really good comment, but like a week later,
we have to have a cutoff.
We have to have a cutoff.
And the cutoff's going to be the day before the episode.
So to everyone out there who sat through all these comments, thank you for all the comments because this video wouldn't exist without you guys.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Especially you guys who stuck around after a year. You know, guys are
a year plus. It is like almost a year.
You guys are Orville commenters, veterans. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
And we love just even if you disagree, you pick out something you thought we were wrong. We would love talking about it. So just keep comments coming. We have a new episode on Thursday. We still haven't done this for Discovery. I just felt because it feels too negative.
Maybe we could do a year one and just pick the best. Because it's just I'm sorry guys, it's hard for me to watch Discovery. It is. I'm a dire Star Trek fan, and then the comments they said about Star Trek needs to be more like Star Wars. One of the producers, that's just like I don't know.
To make it more appealing to children. Oh God, no! But that's a whole separate video.
We're probably going to think about it. Oh,
but again, thank you so much, guys, for these comments. They're fun to read. It's fun to make the videos. So keep them coming. Again, we also have an email on the About page. We do have a Twitter. At C15 Podcast, you can put comments there. We don't get many comments there, but we do from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
But I read every single comment. I get the notifications on my phone, and I read them all. I try to give a thumbs up and a like to let you know that I did see your comment. But of course, if you guys say something I disagree with, I can't necessarily put a heart on it. But I do read it.
See, that's when you have a middle thumb.
Yeah, no, I got to be a I seen it picture.
Okay, I got it.
Radio. But thank you so much. I've been your host, Crimson Sin.
Team PCA.
See you guys later.
See you later. Bye.
Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching and be sure to like, sub, and share. Also, for the most up-to-date information about the podcast, follow us on Twitter at C15 Podcast.